Hello and welcome to the Post to Post podcast, episode 98, Groundhog Day, February 2nd, 2020. Jason and Neil.
Is it really Groundhog Day?
It is Groundhog Day.
I didn't know that.
February 2nd.
It's amazing that you actually have that printed on here.
Heck yeah, I wouldn't have mentioned it if it wasn't there.
That's pro.
Groundhog Day is in the notes. So I don't know if the groundhog seen a shadow or not. I didn't look that up.
Does someone actually watch?
Apparently there is a groundhog. Like the groundhog.
Like every year it's the same groundhog?
I don't know. I imagine he's dead. They must choose one.
Was it sunny this morning?
I don't think so. But I don't know if it's the ground. Like, where do they do it? They clearly don't do it here.
I don't know.
Is it in the States? Is it in Canada? Like,
it's a pretty ridiculous day when you think about it.
And we've had a pretty mild winter for Atlantic Canada winters. So
who knows?
I'm hoping early summer, early spring. Bring it on.
Yeah. We had a pretty tame summer last year. It wasn't too hot.
No. We had like a couple weeks where it was really warm, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, PEI. The year before that was just absolutely crazy hot, and last summer it was good. So it's been a while since I've experienced a New Brunswick summer, so I'll get to do that this summer.
All right, so right off the bat, we're going to jump into some notes you have about what's coming up on the YouTube channel side of things.
Yeah, right. So I just want to let you guys know what's coming on the main channel and also the second channel. I've decided that this week I'm going to release a video every single day on the second channel.
Ooh.
More post to post. I'm going to tell you what all the videos are. So the first thing I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to tell you about is I had an idea for a video, and I knew it was going to be a lot of work, and I kind of put it off for a couple of weeks, and I finally got around to doing it. It took over 2.5 hours to do the research for it, and basically the title is NHL Teams with the Easiest Schedule to Finish the Season.
Ooh.
Ranked, I guess. So basically I went through every single day from now until the end of the season, and if I looked at a game, if the St. Louis Blues played the New York Rangers, I had 2 columns. And so I had all the teams listed out, 31, and then 2 columns. Non-playoff team and playoff team. So for St. Louis versus the Rangers, I don't know when they play. I'm just picking that as an example. The Rangers would get a tick in playoff team because they're playing a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
The Blues would get a tick in non-playoff team because they're playing the Rangers, which currently are a non-playoff team. And I did that for every single team, for every single game for the rest of the year. That's why it took so long. And I added everything up, and by using those statistics, I mean, this isn't going to what's going to happen, but at the end of the day, I know that one team, if they beat all the teams that aren't playoff teams and lose all the games that are against playoff teams, this is what their record's going to be. And based on that record, you can add up the points, get the standings, and then figure out the playoff matchups.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it thinking that the numbers wouldn't really make sense, like the total numbers. It would be a little off because you can't do ties with this, or not ties, the extra point
loser
with this
points.
method. So I gave every team at the end an average of 5 loser points, just an average right across the board. Then I added everything up, and the numbers actually look super close to
like something that could be plausible.
Totally plausible.
Wow!
So I'm really excited to film the video. I'm going to do it after this podcast in the other studio, and go through it. But there are surprising factors that are coming into play. Like, there is one specific team that has such an easy schedule,
really,
compared to some of the other ones, and some teams you think that it would kind of average out because the schedules kind of are spread out. But I mean, Edmonton and Calgary have already played, I think, 3 or 4 times now,
at least 3,
and they only play one more time.
Mm-hmm.
So from this point on, they're only going to see each other once,
mm-hmm.
and there are other teams in that situation where they've already played all the games against them, and they're not going to play anymore. So there's no team that's 15-15.
Mm-hmm.
There's some teams that are 21-9 or 9-21 or something. Like, so they're all completely different, and it doesn't really have anything to do with where they are right now. So like Detroit isn't. They actually have a pretty easy schedule, I think, if I can remember correctly,
mm-hmm.
even though they're last in the league.
Even though it's irrelevant, yeah.
Yeah, so it's complicated, and it really is a kind of a stupid idea for a video. But the fact that it came out to be actually kind of plausible makes it interesting. So I'm really excited to film that and get that out there. And you can probably expect that in the next couple of days. I'm going to film GeoGuessr number 4, number 5, and number 6. 5 things I like about St. Louis and 5 things I like about Winnipeg. And the video that I think is releasing later on today, maybe by the time that this is released, it'll already be released on More Post to Post. But I watched a movie last night, and it was the worst movie I've ever watched in my entire life.
Worse than Ad Astra.
Yes, way worse than Ad Astra.
Wow.
I actually legitimately got a headache at the end of the movie. Like, I had a headache, and I only get headaches about 3 to 5 times a year. And this movie gave me a headache. It's called Uncut Gems.
What was the headache from? Was it just thinking, or was it sound, or was it...
I don't want to give too much of my opinion away, but basically it was just an exhausting movie of people yelling over other people. It's Adam Sandler's in it. It was just released on Netflix. I think it was in theaters too, possibly, but I'll go into the full detail of it. But it was terrible. I actually want you to kind of watch it. I want to see if you can make it.
You sold me on it now. I can't wait to watch the worst movie you've ever seen.
I want to see if you can make it through it. It's that bad. I don't. If I start a movie, I finish it because I'm kind of OCD like that. Mm-hmm. But I actually contemplated stopping this movie halfway through. That's how bad it was. But
wow.
Anyways, check out my thoughts on the second channel. So basically, what I'm getting at here is, if you're not subscribed to the second channel, I would love for you to go over and hit the subscribe button on there. It's called More Post to Post, and it'll see a video release every single day this week. Oh, and also that easy schedule ranking thing is going to be on the second channel. So if you want to see it, subscribe to the second channel. Okay, so that's all I have to lead off on.
Okay.
Now we can go to your pro notes.
So I've got a lot of notes today. Hopefully we can go through them quick. We got to talk about the Battle of Alberta, because the Battle of Alberta is back, people.
It's been... When's the last time it was exciting? Or
my memory's so bad that I can't remember the last time it was exciting.
I feel like it was early to mid 2000s.
Like it's been referenced, but it's like Wednesday night rivalry on NBC, what they used to have. There's no rivalry there. You're just using that as a name. That's what the Battle of Alberta has been.
Yeah, like Columbus would play St. Louis and it would be a Wednesday night rivalry.
Battle of Alberta, Florida and Buffalo. Wednesday night, get your 4 hot dogs, 4 tickets. Remember that when we went to Niagara Falls and there was a deal. I think Buffalo was playing Florida or Arizona. It was Arizona. Mm-hmm. 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 popcorns, and 4 pops for $44, people. That's unbelievable.
This was October 2013, I believe.
Yes, it was 13, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean...
Can you imagine getting 4 tickets and a bunch of food for $44?
That's unbelievable.
It's like, hey, you want to go to Sabres game? $11. Get you in and 3 things of food. So anyway, yeah. So... the first game was the first game. We had 2 games of the Battle of Alberta. So the first game was the game that Zach Kassian's suspension was over.
That's when things really escalated.
So it was hyped. Like the first game was hyped to crazy.
Yeah. And I was ready for it.
Yeah. Like, I think everybody was ready for it.
It was a late game too. So
and it lived up to the hype.
It did. We saw an okay fight. But it wasn't the best fight of the night. I think the best fight of the night was Nugent Hopkins versus Monahan.
Yeah, so they opened the fighting up and just like, wait a minute, these guys are ready to go.
What's going on?
This is awesome.
Yeah.
And then a minute later, see what I liked about the Kassian fight, and I do have this in my notes, is right off the bat, Tkachuk wanted to fight Kassian, get it over with.
Yeah.
Kassian's like, no.
Which
you're gonna wait.
I thought it would be the reverse. I thought Kassian would just want to get it over with, and Tkachuk would be like, yeah. He kind of played that.
See, Tkachuk knew he had to answer the bell.
He did.
He was getting a lot of heat.
He was getting
and he didn't want to do the fight. He wanted to get it over with. Kassian's like, no. I'm going to make you wait.
Yeah.
Do you like that?
I do kind of like that.
I like it too.
Gamesmanship.
Yeah, so he even said, like, I wanted to do it on my terms. I wanted to make him wait. I wanted to make him think about it for a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's the game within the game. And I like that. That's awesome.
That is awesome. It's cool.
Mad props to both of them. They did the fight.
They did. They fought each other.
But yeah. Probably one of the best games I've seen
in a
long time. Yeah.
Yes.
Until the second one came out.
I have a confession to make.
Yeah.
I did not watch a single second of the second game.
You didn't watch the game last night?
Nope.
Dude, that was probably the game of the year for me.
I watched the highlights of the fight, the goalie fight. That's it. I fell asleep.
So we'll get to that in a minute because I have a complaint to make about highlights for that fight.
All right.
So
I have complaints too.
In the first game, so Calgary ended up winning overtime. There was also a controversial moment when Mike Giordano kind of kneed Connor McDavid. And I don't think it was intentional.
I think it was intentional, but I don't think it was a knee. I think it was a trip.
Just
stuck
his foot out?
It was just a trip. Let's move on.
See, McDavid was obviously pissed because that was the same knee that he had rehabbed.
Yes. They have a history.
Yeah.
So
I mean, a feature comes out with Connor McDavid showing how he rehabbed his knee from what seemed to have to be an operation to fix it. And then in that game, he gets kneed by, the captain of the other team.
Yeah.
And there was no penalty call. Now, if he would have fell, 100% there would have been a penalty there.
I feel like if he had been injured long term, I feel like there may have even been a suspension there for intent. But maybe because it was Giordano and they do have history, maybe it was intentional, but I felt like it wasn't.
Like if Connor McDavid would have dove there and would have stayed, like took the trip.
Yeah.
Because Connor McDavid, he's not one to flop, and even his teammates said that. So if he took the flop, fell, and just stayed on the ice for 2 minutes grabbing his knee.
And he easily could have.
Yeah. And no one would have questioned it.
Yeah.
What do you think happens to Giordano then?
Yeah.
There's a penalty, and possibly even they're looking at it for a game.
Absolutely.
But because he stayed on his feet, no call.
Mm-hmm. So
and I hate diving.
That's the problem we run into.
This is what happens when people don't embellish a little bit.
I know, and that's what soccer's turned into with the whole embellishing over there. So, or football, sorry. It is frustrating, but I don't want to be too critical on Giordano because I do like him, but it's a dangerous play.
Mm-hmm. See, I'm not convinced 100% that it was intentional. Like it looked like it could have been. It looked like it could have been.
You could convince me either way.
Yes, that's how I am too.
Yeah.
It wasn't a blatant like 100%. I'm sticking my knee out to try to screw you over.
But it's just one of these other things that just flame the fire of this rivalry.
Yeah. So then you're like, ooh, maybe game 2 is going to be good because there's some unanswered heat here.
Yeah. Because game 1 and game 2 were less than a week apart.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a playoff feel.
It was Wednesday was the first game, and then last night, Saturday night. So yeah, you're talking like 4 days there. Mm-hmm. So the game goes to overtime, and Draisaitl has to score to win it.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes in, and it's Riddick, right? Riddick? Yeah, Riddick goes with a big poke check. Puck doesn't go in. Takes the stick. Jose Batista bat flips it right up in the air, just staring at him. Like, there's unfinished business in this game. So obviously the Edmonton team didn't like that.
No, and this is after the All-Star game where, if I'm not mistaken, they were teammates on the Pacific team. So,
well, they even asked, like, how are McDavid and Tkachuk going to get along together? And they said, well, put that aside and deal with it. Like, they knew they were going to deal with it. So anyway, the game last night that you missed out on, which, unbelievable.
I know. Big mistake. Fell asleep.
I'm going to read I have a last note here. Actually, you know what? I'll wait. I'll wait to get to it. So, Edmonton was ready for this game. They were pissed.
They were extremely pissed.
First minute and 5 into the game, 2-0 lead. Like,
that's impressive.
Yeah. So in the second period, 3 minutes and 18 seconds into the second period, they scored their fourth goal, and Riddick got pulled, and Talbot came in. So it's like, okay, whatever. And then by about halfway into the second period, Calgary actually closed the game to one goal. It was 4-3. And then after that, they never scored another goal. It was all Edmonton for the rest of the game. So I'm going to give you a summary of that last bit.
That would be nice.
So there was 24 seconds left in the period, and Talbot makes a save, and I don't know who it was on Edmonton. He goes in to like try to poke check the puck when he's down. And then Talbot just loses it. He gets up, starts wailing on the player, whoever it was. He's even like jabbing his stick into him while he's down. Another player pulls him off him. He starts fighting that other player. And then there's this big brawl with everyone just like fighting everybody. So it's like, heck yeah, this is pro.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, Mike Smith starts skating up to center ice, and he just stands there with his stick, just like, I'm waiting for you. Like Game of Thrones style, here I am, come and
which
get
is
it.
Amazing.
So Talbot's already fought two other guys. Like, all right, why not go here? So he goes out to the fight. So we see the first goalie fight in like 6 years.
Yeah.
And Mike Smith and Talbot go at it, and Smith just dominates him. Mike Smith is a machine.
Well, Mike Smith's crazy. He's crazy.
Dude, he was throwing friggin' punches. Like,
if I could pick one goalie not to fight in the NHL, it would be Mike Smith.
Dude, it was awesome, though. So here's what we had. 11 goals in the game.
Yeah.
This is overall in the game. We had 11 goals, 102 penalty minutes, 3 fights, one of which was a goalie fight, and 2 goaltender ejections.
Yeah. Can we talk about that? Is that in your notes to talk about?
It's not in it, but it's like a newish rule they made.
Because it's a secondary fight after a whistle.
It's a secondary fight after a whistle.
So they get ejected because of that.
Yep.
When would a goalie fight ever be the primary fight after a play? Like, it's always going to be a secondary fight.
Yeah.
Would it not?
Yeah.
You're never going to see two goalies just randomly just charge each other.
It would be awesome if we did, and I don't know what it would have to be.
And it sucks because every goalie fight from now on is going to result in an ejection.
Yeah.
That sucks. That's unfair. That means there's going to be less goalie fights.
Which means the goalie fights are going to have to be when a game is already over, pretty much.
Yes.
Like, they were down 6-3 when this fight happened. So, I mean, that's pretty much over. Like, and Cam Tabbitt, on that one series of events, had 21 penalty minutes by himself.
That's actually awesome.
I'll give it to you. He had 2 minutes for roughing, 2 minutes for roughing, like a second 2 minutes for roughing. So 2 little scuffles. That was when he jabbed the guy down the ice, and then he went and fought someone else behind the net. 5 minutes for fighting the goalie, and a 10-minute misconduct. Like, unbelievable.
So, and how many penalty minutes total? 110, you said?
On that one play, like on that one scuffle, there was 50 minutes right there.
Well, what about total in
the whole game? It was 102.
102, and he got 21 of them? Yeah. So he got 20%, basically.
20% of all. And 102 penalties in one game is a lot.
Penalty minutes, yeah.
Like, I mean, if you had 50 penalty minutes on one play.
You think about the average penalty is 2 minutes. There was 102. 102.
Yeah. Like, the rivalry is alive and well.
It is. Did you hear about the backup goalie?
I did.
Or not the backup goalie, the emergency goalie.
The emergency goalie. I looked at his stats.
Well, they share it. They share the same emergency goalie.
They do, yep.
What happens in that situation?
Well, whoever needs to go in, that's who he plays for. That's kind of like, remember the guy that went in and played for Chicago and he got a shutout? He could have played for the other team too if the other team's goalie got hurt.
But what happens if
2 goalies get hurt, then one of the trainers is putting the pads on.
But what? Okay, so if there's a goalie fight, they get ejected. But if there's another goalie fight and they get ejected, the emergency goalie, which team does he play for?
I'm assuming.
Who gets dibs?
I don't know. That's a good question. Either the home team gets them.
Probably the home team.
Or the home team gets to choose where they get them. And chances are, if you're picking between him, who's an actual goalie in like a lower league, versus just putting pads on your trainer guy.
I don't think you can put a trainer in a game. I think
trainers have gone in games before.
Really?
100%.
I think it should have to be a player.
No, it's trainers.
I want to see you.
They take someone from behind the bench and throw pads on them.
I want to see Giordano with some pads on him. Get McDavid to take some shots.
Oh man, that'd be bad though.
It's a weird rule though.
It's a weird, yeah.
I don't think goalies should be ejected. Why? What would it matter? They don't need to be ejected. Give them a penalty. Have someone else serve it like they normally do when goalies get penalties. There's no reason to eject them. It's not like they're close to each other and they're going to go at it again. And if they do, heck yeah.
I have a theory that the NHL doesn't want goalies fighting.
I have a theory that the NHL doesn't want anyone fighting.
If you go on NHL.com, and I'm glad I watched this game live, people. If you go on NHL.com and click on the game recap for this game.
It's not in there.
It's 9 minutes long. This entire sequence is not in the recap.
That's unacceptable.
It goes from like 6 minutes left in the second to 12 minutes left in the third. I was like, wait a minute. The whole point of this game is right there, and you didn't show it. Half of the penalty minutes in this 102 penalty minute game are not in the replay.
The NHL can try and convince itself that it's not a violent game or that fans don't like violence. Guess what? Do you know why we're sitting here talking about this?
Yes.
Because there's violence. Do you know why the fans in the arena were going crazy? Because of the violence. Do you want to know why Twitter was going crazy last night as well? Because of the violence. The majority of people like hitting, like fighting, and like violence in the NHL.
This is some old school. This is old school hockey.
Old school hockey. I loved it. There should be more. There should be a goalie fight every game. Every game in the NHL. You should lose points if you don't fight.
There you go.
If there's no goalie fight.
Man. I mean, they would fight. Goalies are the craziest players.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I want to talk about an article or a blog that Barstool Sports came out with.
Okay.
It was right after the first game. So I can't imagine how whoever wrote this blog feels about this game.
Yeah.
So the title was the NHL and NBC failed hockey fans last night. So when we first talked about this, we said how hyped this game was going to be, right?
Yep.
Like, you knew as soon as he was suspended that next week when he's back, this game is going to be the must-watch game.
I stayed up for it. I usually don't stay up that late anymore, and I stayed up and watched the entire thing.
Okay, so I want to read a little bit from the article. This is what he says. The problem is the NHL cannot market its product effectively. Last night was the most anticipated random regular season game that I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
Actual rivals with the Battle of Alberta. 2 teams that hate each other's guts. 2 teams that are desperately battling for points because a 3-game winning streak in the Pacific might put you in first, and any sort of losing streak puts you in danger of missing the playoffs.
Which is true.
It was a monster game, and everyone in... Oh, I lost my spot. In the hockey world knew it, and yet We got Kings Lightning
on NBC.
on NBC.
That's ridiculous.
That was the national game.
Is it because TSN holds the rights or Sportsnet holds the rights?
It's because NBC decided not to show that game.
It was they made the decision not to show that game.
NBC does not like to show Canada versus Canada games because the ratings aren't there. And then he says for the Kings Lightning game, a last place garbage team versus the least charismatic good team from the East, while we have a blood feud happening in Edmonton. That game had everything. If I was going to take someone who had never seen a hockey game from West Virginia or Chile and wanted to show them what hockey was all about, show them a game that would make them a fan for life, it would have been that game last night. Perfect hockey game to market to a casual fan. Mega stars, speed, emotion, great fans, violence, skill, competition, and battles all over the ice. It was spectacular. It had a big boxing match type build-up, reality TV type drama. The NHL had a chance to grab the entire sports world for a night when not many other sports were going on, and yet we in America were stuck with Lightning Kings and being forced to stream it illegally. That is a failure by the powers that be in the NHL and NBC Sports. And then he goes on to say, like, I'm sure there's a complicated explanation as to why you didn't have national TV coverage, but then skipping down, he says it could have been hyped up like Vince McMahon was in charge and then blah, blah, but it should have been on TV.
Absolutely, it should have been on TV. How is it not on TV?
And, like, I can understand if it's like...
Do you think it's just a biased NBC executive?
Well, it's not necessarily executive. It's just, apparently from what I was reading, the ratings when NBC used to cover Canadian games weren't good, so they just don't do it anymore.
I mean...
Like, we are an American country. We're an American station. We're not interested in showing two Canadian teams playing Canada on our national coverage.
Let me ask you a question. Does Sportsnet show American versus American teams?
100%.
Do they?
Oh, yeah. They have so
nationally?
Many... Yeah, because a lot of the Boston games are on Sportsnet. And they're playing American teams.
What about when Canadian teams are playing? If there's a Montreal, Ottawa, or Toronto game on, are they going to choose an American versus American game?
If TSN has that game, they do.
TSN?
Yeah, because TSN has rights to Leaf games.
Just Sportsnet.
But if TSN has the game that night and Sportsnet doesn't have access to it,
right,
they show a Bruins game usually, which is a lot of them. And that's the national game for Sportsnet.
But I don't think Sportsnet would ever make the decision to show an American versus American game if a Canadian team is playing, even if it's Ottawa.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Kind of sucking. Or Montreal, who's kind of sucking.
But I think it would depend on the story, too. I think the people at Sport, like, I think they know that Canadian hockey fans are like, show me the good hockey. And if there's something crazy going, like when Vegas was going on a streak, I think NBC Sportsnet showed all kinds of Vegas that year.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, if Ottawa was playing LA.
I think in general, I think you're right. If it comes down to a Canadian team or an American team, I think in general, they would show the Canadian teams. But I think they're also wise enough to understand the story that if there's a big story going on down here, we may... And we have a week to prepare for it. Like, it's not like just the game was on, it was a really good game, and oh man, they should have had that game. This game was hyped to crap for a week.
I completely agree, and I'm thinking about another random regular season game that had some hype, and I would say that it would be the first game between the Boston Bruins and the St. Louis Blues since St. Louis won the Cup.
Yep.
If Ottawa was playing LA and Boston was playing St. Louis, I would assume that Sportsnet would be intelligent enough to choose the Boston versus St. Louis think so, game.
Just because I've watched... Like, I don't know, because I don't know what's going on at the same time. Because I know, like, I've watched Sportsnet games where they're playing, where Boston, because they must have a partnership with Nesson, because they cover a lot of Nesson games. So I've watched Boston play another American teams on, like, Sportsnet 360 or whatever, while Montreal or Toronto has been playing, because Dad and I will watch and we'll channel flip at the same time.
Yeah.
So it does happen. It's just, you're right.
It's very team specific. You're not going to see Minnesota play...
Yeah,
Arizona
like if Toronto
Sportsnet.
or Montreal is playing Winnipeg, chances are Sportsnet's not showing Boston that night.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree with you. It depends. Like, I think they're smart enough to look at the situation or the schedule, and then based on the hype building up for each game, they'll...
Yeah. Regardless of what everything we just said, unacceptable that game was not on NBC.
Yeah.
And we saw Lightning versus...
And then that game ends, and you know, hey, wait a minute, we're not done here. Saturday night, it's coming.
And he made a good point. People are because of the situation that they've been put in where they can't see the game they want to see, they have to illegally stream the game, which is a huge problem. The NHL is aware of it, and they hate it. Well, do something about it. Show the game that people want to see. And us here in Canada are the same thing. When Rogers took over, and said, oh, there's not going to be any more blackouts. You're going to be able to see whatever game you want to see at any time. Guess what? We still have blackouts.
Yeah.
And guess what happens? People still watch games illegally online because of it.
Yeah, when Rogers came in, they put that big bid in, you had Nick Kyprios and all them on Hockey Central saying, this is going to be great. We have all the rights, which means we don't need to have blackouts. We're going to cover like 11 games every day, and it's going to be great. And then they work out all the details, and nope, blackouts like crazy.
Unacceptable. And then we're stuck with Rogers for how long? How many more years?
9, 8, something like that.
Something crazy.
Yeah, I think it was 12-year deal, was it?
Ugh.
It was a long time. Anyway, so the NBC deal's coming up, though. So
it is.
I would have to think the NHL is looking forward to that coming up because
that's big money.
There's rumors that ESPN wants into.
Oh, really?
So they may go to battle over that, and maybe ESPN would do a little bit better of a job because ESPN and TSN up here are kind of like the same. Like TSN is basically borrowing all their stuff, like their Sports Center, their logos, their music. It's all the same.
Yeah.
But they have that direct because they're like a parent affiliation somehow. They have the direct access to the TSN people, which could give them an inside because NBC doesn't really have anybody. Like they have Pierre McGuire.
Yeah.
Like no, they've got good people too. Like they got Doc and stuff like that. But
they do have Doc. Doc's a legend. Yeah, I don't know. I actually do like NBC's coverage for the most part. I don't know. It's a tricky dance.
I like their coverage, but maybe beyond that, like maybe the management side of things, maybe they're not necessarily marketing things the right way, or maybe they're not picking the right games for the schedule or things like that. Like I don't know. We're not down there, so we're not limited to their.
Yeah, I find the way games. That NBC produces games, they use a lot less camera switching. The majority of the time, you get the camera that you want, which is the wide normal camera. One thing they do more than Sportsnet, TSN, or any other company is they use that back camera behind the net on power plays. Or
I hate that camera. We talked about that last time.
Yeah, and they'll show that for 2 minutes.
A lot of people like that camera, though.
I don't mind it.
See, for me, I don't like it. I just find it's like you're turning your head like this all the time, and it's just, I'd rather just.
Yeah, I understand.
So anyway, that's all I really have to say about that Battle of Alberta. If you missed out on it, you missed out.
They play again, and I know this because I looked at the schedule because of all the research for the video I'm doing. They play again near the end of the season on a Saturday night. I think it's the last Saturday of the season or the second last, but they play again right before the playoffs when they could potentially meet each other in the playoffs. It's going to be awesome.
It has to be a playoff matchup.
Maybe.
Like, it would be a disservice to humanity.
It would.
If they don't meet in the playoffs.
Yeah, it would be bad. As much as I would want to see another Canadian matchup like Calgary versus Vancouver or Edmonton versus Vancouver, that Edmonton-Calgary series has to happen.
Like,
it just has to.
Like, I hate to admit this, but if you threw me in a room and said, you got to watch Bruins Leafs first round or Edmonton Calgary first round, I'm going to hope the Bruins do well, and I'm watching the Calgary game.
Absolutely.
Because I just think the hockey is going to be just, you can't miss it. They're going to be, like, I can't even explain it. If you have this much hatred in a regular season game, when you're playing each other every second night or whatever.
Here's a question for you. Who are you cheering for?
I wouldn't cheer for anybody.
But you have to. You have to kind of cheer for someone.
I would probably pick Edmonton.
I would probably... I like Calgary more.
Edmonton's just been down in the dumpster fires too long.
I would say that I like more players on Edmonton, but I like Calgary more as a franchise. So I would probably cheer for the player versus the franchise, and that means I would probably cheer for Edmonton. And I'd like to see McDavid have.
That's what it is.
Success.
You don't want to see the best player.
Yeah.
Constantly losing and losing and losing. Yeah. Like that's no good either.
And I'd like to see Mike Smith
getting a couple more goalie fights.
Getting a couple more goalie fights and maybe win a Stanley Cup. So we'll see.
Okay.
What's next?
Next on, we're moving on to right before we started this podcast, I played a clip for Neil. So Woes in Buffalo. So I actually got this from Reddit. The Buffalo fans right now are apparently at their wits' end, and Buffalo's been bad for so long that this just never really crossed my mind. But I guess things in Buffalo are actually getting so bad that the team is trying to manage the fans and kind of manipulate how things are going, and it's not going over very well. And there was actually this season ticket holder that called in to this radio station, and he went on a 4-minute rant. It was the most passionate hockey rant I have ever heard in my life.
Are you going to play it in this podcast?
It's up to you. Do you want to play it?
I think you should.
All right. So we're going to play it for you now in the podcast. It's about 4 minutes long. It is a clip from a season ticket holder who has been, I think, for 15 years, I believe he says in the clip. He's been a season ticket holder for 15 years, and he's had it. And we're going to play the clip, and then we played it before the podcast, so then we'll talk about what we remember of the clip after we get back. So here it is.
All right, 803-0550, 1-888-550-2550. Those are the numbers. Dwayne is going to lead us off this segment. Hi, Dwayne. Thanks for calling. You're on the air.
Hey, thanks, Bulldog. Thanks, guys. If you just give me a few, like a minute here, just to, I'll try and organize my thoughts as best I can. I'm just, I've the 24 years they've been in that arena. I think in some form of capacity, I've been a season ticket holder for about 15 of those years. I started, my first hockey card was Brad May. My first jersey was Pat LaFontaine. I idolized Dominic Hasek. I played goalie because of Dominic Hasek. I work for Hasek's Foundation now as a coach, and my life in hockey has been started because of Sabres hockey. I went to the finals games as a kid with my dad. I watched Jeff Sanderson score with one arm around Ed Belfour. I have so many great moments to talk about with this hockey team, and I'm surprised the organization remembered to wish Dominic Hasek a happy birthday today. I'll put it that way. It's so mind-boggling how we've fallen this far, and I was cautiously optimistic coming into the season because I wasn't fully expecting playoffs, but I was happy with the way the season started because the competitiveness was there. Last year was misery 100% after the 10-game streak. It was absolute misery because the passion was not there. And it's been there. And then they go out and lay an egg last night in front of me. I was at the game. The first time I went to a game with my sister, by the way, and she had to sit there through that. And it's mind-blowing. I don't need a Jerry Jones type of owner. I need an owner who's going to answer to the fans when they misspell names on jerseys and have Chinese knockoffs on alumni. What is going on? What are we doing? I don't understand it, man. Bulldog, you lived through this. You've seen it. Have you ever been, have they ever sucked the passion out of you like they have me? I've dedicated my life to hockey because of this team. I can't do it anymore, man. I'm seriously, for the first time, considering just not being a season ticket holder this year. Even when the team was terrible, Ted Black would come on the station and talk to fans and address concerns. I don't need I don't need a damn camera in front of Terry Pagula every single day, but address our concerns. Be there when you screw up. Answer for the mistakes. Be accountable. Pat LaFontaine being forced out of the organization, 5 years ago, or however long it was. I don't need an explanation, but it's just been mediocrity. It's almost worse than the Bills drought. And you know what? As I don't know what people's opinions of the man were, with Russ Brandon, but if Russ Brandon was running the team still, I highly doubt he would have allowed Chinese knockoff jerseys to be worn by Danny Garrett at Turkey Drive. I would have died on the ice, the goat head, missing deadlines. What the hell is going on? What is it? I didn't need playoffs this year. I wanted it, but I didn't need it. But when you screw up for the fans as much as this team has over the last, 5 years, and just don't hold yourself accountable, go hide at your house in Florida. What is this? Get in front of the camera and at least make us feel that we matter. That we matter to you. I'm sick of it, Bulldog. I'm sick of it. I'm sorry. I'll hang up and listen. I'm sorry.
All right, so that's the fan. And there was a couple things he mentioned in there that when I first played the clip or told you about, you were like, ooh. Mm-hmm. I'm going to read to them now. So he says, not only is the on-ice product terrible, it's the off-ice shenanigans that are also unacceptable. Things including misspelling alumni players' names on the back of their jerseys.
Alumni?
Alumni.
Yeah,
Did I say alumni? Like aluminum foil?
Illuminati.
Alumni. Yeah. I don't know why I said that.
The Illuminati symbol?
Oh, yeah. It's a freaking conspiracy.
The all-seeing
people.
eye?
The all-seeing eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Freemasons.
Alumni.
So, yeah, alumni. Can you imagine being an alumni and you go in to wear a jersey and your name is spelled wrong?
That's extremely disrespectful.
How about the fact that your name is spelled wrong and you're also wearing a Chinese knockoff jersey instead of an authentic jersey?
I don't understand that. How do they not have access to jerseys whenever they want them?
There's a picture online. You can look this up if you want to. It has a bunch of the alumni, and some of them are wearing like the current logo, and a lot of them are wearing the old Brahma Bull logo, the black jerseys.
Yeah.
And they're all fake.
Wow.
Because the person who made this post on Reddit actually posted what the authentic Brahma Bull, I don't know why I keep calling it the Brahma Bull, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
The Brahma Bull. And there's like red on the thing up here.
Yeah.
And on theirs it's gray. And it's totally, you can tell it's knockoff jerseys.
Really?
So the owners couldn't even shell out for like $200 to go and buy a real jersey for these guys who are like the former stars of your team.
That's ridiculous.
You're going online and spending $30 for a knockoff.
How does the NHL even let that happen? How does NHL and Adidas even let that happen? Or I know they're not Adidas jerseys, but like those throwback jerseys or CCM or whatever.
Because it's basically under the radar. Like I never knew anything about this until I read about it.
I didn't know anything about it till today.
So there was another situation where apparently they were going to have a deal with Vancouver where they were both going to have or wear their original jerseys in a game.
Okay.
Buffalo didn't meet the deadline to get that in. Vancouver wore their jerseys. Buffalo wore their regular jerseys.
Jeez.
So a lot of the hate is being sent towards the Pegula family, who owns the team for 9 years now.
Which we've talked about before, being too
hands-on
with the team.
This is not the first time this has come up. So the radio station tweeted out that clip we just played.
Yeah. And
then later, that clip or that tweet is gone. So people are assuming they were pressured to take it down by the team. Because the radio station is a premium partner of the team.
Oh, no way.
So
are they owned by the same family?
They're not owned, but they're a premium partner.
Wow.
So anyway, people are assuming that that's them trying to control the fan reaction ridiculous. Again. So last week on 31 Thoughts, Elliot Friedman, he actually had a small blurb about Buffalo in it.
Oh.
And he later went on to the radio station, the same radio station that played that clip, like the day later. And he said he received a lot of criticism that the organization was not happy with what he said. And I'm going to read you what he said. And there's nothing in here that warrants calling Elliot Friedman to tell him, like, you're a jerk face or whatever.
Wow.
So this is what he said. This is right from the article, quote for quote. We're coming up on 9 years since he bought the Sabres, which is Terry Pegula. At the media conference, he promised to spend, which had Sabres fans dancing with joy. He spent on players, coaches, executives, scoutings, everything. They made the playoffs that first season, losing in 7 games to Philadelphia. But there have been no playoff berths since then, and the team is 80 games under 500 in that span. That's all he said. And he got a call saying, we're not happy with that.
That everything he said is factual.
But this is the example of them trying to control the media. And the caller on the call even says there's no one in that organization talking to fans. Like, there's no reassurance, there's no explanation, there's no plan. He says the owner, once it's over, just goes and lives at his residence in Florida.
Wow.
Like,
is he making the decisions to tell management to do this, or is it management?
We don't know. This is just, it's like they're trying to control the message outside of the hockey, and they're not actually, like, they're kind of silencing people.
That's ridiculous.
But they're not actually making a message themselves.
I hope we get a call.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Call us up. I'd love to talk to you in person.
PostapostShow@gmail.com.
Yeah. Send me an email. I'd love to respond.
But anyway, so I just wanted to bring that up because, like I said, Buffalo has just seemingly been so bad for so long.
I feel so bad for their fans.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
But apparently it's reaching a boiling point now. And
yeah. Good.
So we're bringing that up so that whoever reads this
But what can you do? You can't force an owner out. We see this in Ottawa. How many people want Melnyk gone and he's just still there?
This is approaching Melnyk-like situation. Like,
if Buffalo was a Canadian team, it might be at the same level because it would have had more.
Buffalo has a football
attention.
team.
Yes, Buffalo Bills.
Yes, and they're not that great either, really. Like, they're doing better recently. But if Buffalo had no other team,
yes,
aka Ottawa, this is like there's no fallback. Like, all their fans are for one team. Like,
yeah.
And what's funny is the Pegula family actually owns the football team too.
Oh God.
So,
jeez.
I mean, these are billionaires who can't even go out and spend $200 on NHL Shop or go down to their own friggin' pro shop in their own arena, take a couple jerseys and put correctly spelled alumni names on the back of the jerseys.
That's embarrassing. That is really embarrassing.
So
I guess Ottawa has the CFL team, the Red Blacks or whatever.
True.
But still, I mean, CFL versus NFL is not on the same level.
But I mean, you're right. At least there is something else for them there. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because shout out to Buffalo. We don't really talk about Buffalo. Not great news, but...
No, that sucks.
All right. Topic number 3. We're going to get into this. Seattle Kraken. So, I'm going to read it, actually, just the first part. So, there was a guy named John Hoven. He went on SiriusXM NHL Radio, which you listen to.
Yes, love that.
And he reported that Kraken is the name that has allegedly been decided upon. And so, everyone online's like, all right, Seattle Kraken, that's pro. Like,
yep. Because that's what the majority of people wanted.
Yep.
And it's a kind of a love it or hate it name.
Yeah. So he said, from everything I've heard, it looks like Seattle Kraken is going to be the name, which is quite surprising, actually. When I was given that information just a couple of days ago, I was a little bit in shock personally, just because we had been told several times previously that was not the name they were going for. It looked like they were leaning towards Sockeyes. And then now I guess it's come out that name has been used in a book by an author in a book. So actually, the Seattle Sockeyes books are romance novels.
What?
Of all things. Yeah. So they're...
What's a Sockeye?
I don't know. So it's by Jamie Davenport, and he was actually on ESPN Seattle in 2018. This is what he said about his name potentially being used in an NHL, or because he owns the rights to the Sockeyes, because that's his book series. He says, "I'd love for Seattle to get an NHL team," and then he goes on to say, "I have built this brand around the Seattle Sockeyes over the last 3 or 4 years. So the Seattle Sockeyes are owned by him, that's his name." He says, "I've got a logo, I've got t-shirts, I've got jerseys. I make a good amount of money off it, and I know how closely the NHL guards its own brands and its trademarks. I'm not trying to profit off this or stop anybody from using the name. I'm just trying to protect my business."
Which, as he should.
Yeah, so I think he's right. I think the NHL wants to avoid all legal issues like that. So
yep.
I do think Seattle Sockeyes is off the table.
Well, because even the Golden Knights, that name, there's still controversy with that. I think because of the military.
Well, I think he wanted to be the Black Knights first, didn't he?
The Black Knights, that's what it was. Yeah, something like that.
But it was owned by like a junior team or an AHL team or something like that. So the NHL Seattle Twitter account came out after all those rumors came out. And this is what they said. And this is what got me thinking that maybe the Kraken is not going to be the name.
Oh, really?
The way I read this was maybe they're throwing some smokescreen here.
Okay.
So this is what it says. It says, "While we're aware of some fishy rumors surrounding our team name, please rest assured that we're doing our due diligence by scouring the depths of the ocean, the tallest mountains, and the densest parts of the forest to find the right name for our great green city." I don't think they would have said anything fishy or anything like that.
What do you mean?
I think this tweet...
Confirm Sockeyes?
No, I think if you read it in a way, it would confirm that, hey, the Kraken is a name we're considering.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they would want that information out at all. So I think they would stay clear away from that if they were going to make something.
I'm surprised. To be honest, I'm surprised they even tweeted anything.
And then the actual company released a statement later too, and they said at NHL Seattle, this is like a more corporate thing. They said, "At NHL Seattle, we are thrilled by the growing excitement about our team, and we can't wait to share every detail with our fans. However, we will not be commenting on any rumors. Please check our social channels for more updates." See, that's the kind of response I originally expected.
Yes.
Which would make me think like, hey, maybe it is going to be Kraken. But then when you get that first tweet coming out from the actual team saying, "We've heard about the fishy rumors," or whatever.
Yeah, but see, I can see some fishy, how you're thinking fishy or whatever. But it says, scouring the depths of the ocean, the tallest mountains. Like, we're talking about a big creature here. But the Kraken.
But that's what I mean. And because they're saying that, I think it's a smokescreen. I think they're taking your attention there because that's not the name.
Okay.
If it was the name, they're not going to bring more attention to it. Because I think this tweet brings attention to the Kraken name.
I thought that maybe they were laying a little bit hint that, it is the Kraken, but we can't technically
see, I can't see them laying a hint. I think that reveal is going to be a big deal to them, and there's no way they want that to get out early.
So it's probably not going to be the Sockeyes. And if
you're right, see it being Sockeyes.
If you're right, then it's probably not going to be the Kraken.
I want it to be Kraken.
So do I.
But I'm just questioning that first tweet now.
If it's the Metropolitans, I'm going to be so pissed.
If the second tweet came out with the corporate statement, I would 100% be like, yep, it's Kraken.
Yeah.
But now that they just made that, like, I don't know, maybe they're just trying to be clever with it. And maybe they're throwing a smoke screen, like a double smoke screen, by making me think this way.
Like reverse psychology.
Like a reverse psychology.
Maybe.
So I don't know. So what do you think? Do you think it's going to be the name?
I think it has to be the name. There's no other name out there that Like, think about just the marketing opportunities alone.
Mm-hmm.
The T-shirts, the logo, you have so much flexibility with an amazing logo, secondary logos, tertiary logos, the colors. You could do whatever you want with colors. You'll probably get green and blue in there, obviously, but
You could bring Liam Neeson in and be like, release the Kraken.
exactly.
That would be pro
You
if he
could
came
use
into
his
that
voice. You could think about the mascot, the big thing that could come down from the ice that they
Yeah.
skate through. There's the saying, the audible things you could use, the sound effects, like the waves,
audio or
and
the visual
roars.
lasers on the ice that create those like fake images. You can have it like busting through the rink and
Like,
if it's Metropolitans, I'm gonna be like, man, what is that?
you can't name a team the same name as a division. Like, unacceptable.
What if it's
So,
something just like totally out of left field and it's just stupid, like the white tables?
the white
Like
tables?
obviously not the white tables. I'm looking at a white table right now. But what if it's just like if you think about it, like Golden Knights, that's not really a great name.
So if it was like the Seattle Falcons or something, just a random animal.
Yeah, like Seattle Falcons sounds normal to us because it's been out for so long. But if you were like Falcons, that's kind of weird. Like Bruins is kind of weird.
Like the Seattle
if
River.
you actually analyze team names, most of them are stupid.
Yeah, they are stupid. What about Seattle River Ducks?
River Ducks would be pro.
I want to say
Although
one, but I
that
can't
doesn't
swear.
really, in terms of instilling fear upon your opponent, I'd take a Kraken over a River Duck.
Yeah. Did you see the fake one that's going around there?
No.
Of what they should call it?
Oh, is it like an inappropriate word?
It is. I want to say, I can't say it because
Probably shouldn't say it.
you have to bleep it, and I don't want to make you do that in post.
But yeah.
It starts with B
Yeah.
and then P.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think the B word is acceptable to say. That's not that bad.
I don't know if you can say it. I don't know. There's certain words you can't say on iTunes.
Okay. Let's
Like
not say
the
it
S
then.
word you can't say. On
Yeah,
iTunes.
I know S you can't say, F you can't say.
Yeah.
But they say the B word on radio now.
That's true. Okay.
Basically the B pigeons.
it's the biatch pigeons.
Yeah, the biatch pigeons. That's a pro name though.
It is.
Like, clearly you can't use it, but it's amazing.
It is.
So anyway, we'll move on from that. My topic number 4, I have Alex Ovechkin is now the 8th highest time goal scorer in league history. So he just passed Mark Messier, who had 694, and also Steve Yzerman had 692. So he passed 2 people real close together. He's still 199 goals behind Krejci, which is crazy. And then he's got...
That's not that many though.
It's not, but he's great, man. Like, he's not slowing down yet.
He gets close to 50 every year.
That's just it.
That's
though.
4 years. That's only 4 years.
Elliot Friedman thinks he's going to do it.
I think he's going to do it too.
I don't know if he's going to do it or not.
He's got to do it.
I think he'll get close.
He's got to do it.
Dude, 200 goals is still a lot.
Ovechkin, think about the passion and just obsession that he has with hockey. He's already won a cup. He was obsessed with it. Think about he won't give up. He's in good shape. He'll play until he's in his 40s, until he breaks this. I know he will. He's going to do it. Personal guarantee.
Even if he doesn't, he's still the greatest scorer. Because Krejci played in an area where goalies didn't know what they were doing.
Exactly.
Like, no offense, but like, if you watch old highlights of hockey, it's pretty bad.
They're just flopping around.
They're just like, hey, and he's just like, oh, like,
yeah.
it's nothing like it is now. So he's got Mike Gardner, Phil Esposito, Marcel Dion, Brett Hall, Jaromir Jagr, Gordie Howe, and Wayne Gretzky above him. So there's only 2 active players. I was going to ask you this as a trivia, but it's too late now. In the top 50 right now, there's only 2 active players.
Yeah.
Alex Ovechkin, who's 8th right now with 695, and Patrick Marleau, who's tied for 25th at 561.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else in the top 50 is retired.
What about Joe Thornton?
Joe Thornton's not in the top 50.
He's not?
Nope. Sidney Crosby, I think, was in 3rd with like at 56 or 57 or something like that. Okay, we'll get into this Tyler Seguin situation.
This is so confusing.
So when I first made these notes yesterday, it seemed like this was going to be a big deal. And today it turns out it's not a big deal.
Oh?
Or is it?
Oh.
We'll get into that.
Okay.
Okay, so during the warm-up yesterday when Dallas was playing New Jersey, it was noticed online that Tyler Seguin did not have an A right here. The alternate captain had been stripped, or so it had seemed. So people online were like losing it and posting memes of like Seguin gifs and like, it was just, people were pissed. So after the game, Seguin said that the 4 A's will now be alternated between him, Klingberg, Como, and Lindell.
Mm-hmm.
And then later he said that he will wear the A at home with Lindell, and Klingberg and Como will wear it on the road. Here's my question I have for you. Is this the coaching staff sending a message to Seguin that his performance hasn't been good enough, or is this a legitimate expanded leadership group?
I think maybe.
Wait, before you say anything,
Okay.
I'm going to read you Seguin's stats. A little bit of Seguin's stats.
All right.
So this is his stats for January. 10 games played. He played every game.
Yeah.
0 goals, 5 assists, 31 shots. Averaging about 19 minutes a game,
Okay.
which is 3 hours and 9 minutes and 33 seconds that he did not
Dang.
score a goal.
Okay. That's a lot of hockey.
Paid that much money. One of the star players of the team. No goals, 5 assists.
What's he paid? Like 9.85.
It's
I
almost
think, a
10, I
million?
think, isn't it? Yeah.
Pretty sure it's 9.85 average per year.
So for the season stats, he's 51 games played. He's played every game.
Yeah.
11 goals, 26 assists.
Yeah, that's bad.
And he has a career low of 6.2 shooting percentage.
That's not great.
So he's having his worst year goal offensively.
And the team is doing not bad this year. Think about how well they would do if he was on the ball.
So when you look at those stats, like you can say, like here's a general question for you before you answer this question. If you are a team and you create an expanded leadership group, you're still stripping the A from someone who had it permanently.
Yes.
So it's still, in a way, a demotion for that player.
It's a pretty big slap
You're
in the
basically
face.
saying you're no longer good enough to have it all the time, but you're still good enough to have it half the time. So back to the question, is this a legit, or maybe it's a bit of both, I don't know, I'll let you answer it. Do you think that they're sending a message to Seguin here, or do you think this is actually them just, like, do they need an expanded leadership group? Like, I don't know.
I would say yes. I'm kind of on the it makes sense from both scenarios.
So it's a little bit of both.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think they are sending a message. I mean, Tyler Seguin isn't innocent in other things as well. When he played for the Boston Bruins, he was a healthy scratch once because he missed a team breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain people who say that he's a bit of a party animal.
Mm-hmm. He just posted his brand new Ford GT on his.
Yeah, like he's a
online.
bit of a he's a bit of a playboy.
Let me ask you
So-
this: if Seguin was smoking it this year, do you think this happens?
No, absolutely not.
So this has to be a demotion.
It
then.
has to be a demotion. There's no way. It's such a slap in the face. He's paid $9.85 million or whatever it is per season. You don't take an A off someone who.
See, that's what I mean.
They just signed him to the contract.
I was with you. I was on the fence. Like maybe it's a bit of both. But then I looked at it from that way. I said, wait a minute. If he was actually playing really good, would they still do this? Because if they would, then it's legitimate. But I'm with you. If he had 30 goals and 60 assists, or like maybe he was just having a monster year, I can't see them taking the A off him and saying it's not a demotion. We're just expanding our leadership group.
It's complicated because there's a coaching change in Dallas this year.
And it's the coach making this change 100%.
So if Jim Montgomery was still the coach,
I'm thinking
would
probably
this still happen?
I'm thinking probably
not. So the new coach wants to send a message, maybe. So yeah, I'm kind of thinking that maybe this is a bit of a wake up.
We went from no announcement at all being made, so fans weren't sure
Right.
why it was happening, to them like people being upset and like, why is this happening? Why are you doing this? Why are you treating your stars so badly? Because a lot of people think that Dallas, because you've had the owners come out and speak bad about Seguin
Yes.
and Ben, so just like, why are you treating this guy so bad? And till after the game, Seguin makes those comments, and everyone's like, oh, okay, well that was much ado about nothing. But then when you break it down to, wait a minute, if he was actually playing better, would they have done this? And you come to the conclusions that no, that yeah, there is something here. It's not necessarily just expanding the leadership group. Like maybe they are a little bit, but I still think this is sending a message to Seguin saying, we're paying you a lot of money. You're just one of the star players in the team. It's not good enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And they didn't say anything about it because they have the excuse of it's just we're just expanding our leadership group. Like they can just say that and it'd be okay. So, and I mean, we can question them all they want. They're not going to say anything other than we're just expanding our leadership group, regardless
So
of
they
what the
just
truth
didn't say
is.
anything. Just warm-ups are happening and Seguin doesn't have an A on them.
Yeah,
I mean,
Move
people
on.
are going to notice that.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk real quickly about the Tomas Hertl injury in San Jose.
Man, it sucks when you see a player at the All-Star game and then you see him get injured. I can't remember. This did happen to someone else. I don't think it was last year. I don't think it was even the year before that. But sometime in the past 5 years, there was a major injury from an All-Star or a player that was at the All-Star game right after the All-Star break. It's not like San Jose's doing anything this year. We know that. So it's not, team changing really for the year, for the season, for the Sharks. But still, this sucks. This is a serious injury.
Yeah, he's having surgery tomorrow on Monday to repair an ACL and MCL, and will be out the remainder of the season. He was injured in the first period of the San Jose-Vancouver game Wednesday, and San Jose, like we said, they're 11 points of a wild card team. They are not coming back. They are done. What do they need to do next season?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, Thornton's getting older. You got Marlowe, who's pretty old.
Yep.
You sent away Pavelski.
Is it time for a retool?
I can't see them trading away LeBanc and Timo Meier, and I mean, they have some other players who they could trade and stuff, but I mean, Brendan Dillon's in the rumors now. He might go to Toronto, so the team overall has generally not changed that much. So maybe it is time for a bit of a drastic change. We did see a little bit of change with, you sent out Dylan DeMello, and you brought in Erik Karlsson, and you sent out a couple of other people in that trade as well and stuff. I don't know. It's a team that on paper is better than this. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to consider this year to be a bit of an anomaly.
This year out there is so crazy in that Western Conference.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
It's so weird.
You would have to think it makes a GM's job hard too, because
it has to be extremely difficult.
Like, how do you plan and how do you manage when everything is just up in the air all the time?
I think they just extended their GM as well.
They may have, I don't know.
I think maybe last year. I don't know. I think you just count this year as a learning experience, and then you come back because you have the players to do damage because the team has generally not changed. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like Tampa. Like there's a switch. It's a mental switch that you need to flick. So flick it and get her done.
Okay. Let's switch over to your notes and we'll finish off with mine because you have some other player-related notes, so may as well just kind of stay on that vibe.
All right, sounds good. So basically, the only thing that I think you didn't have that I had was the Kapanen thing. He was a healthy scratch last night against the Ottawa Senators. And the reason was internal accountability.
Internal accountability.
So what does that mean? Is it the Tyler Seguin thing where he missed like a team breakfast and he was scratched?
I would say he missed something, yeah. Or he was late for something, or
he's supposed to show up
at
the arena 2 hours before.
Yeah, it's mostly a time management thing, I would have to think.
So apparently he's going to address the media and explain it on Monday.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to happen at team practice or
I think it's I don't know.
It's going to be addressed by Kapanen directly, apparently. So we'll keep our eye on that. There's rumors out there that the Bruins
I never heard this.
Maybe should shop David Krejci.
This is interesting to me.
And this is a long-term player, or this is a player that's played long-term on the same team. He's got 1 year left in his contract. He still has some value. Now, if you look at the Boston Bruins lineup and you consider all of the players on the team and who is most injury-prone, I can't see anyone choosing anyone else but David Krejci because he has had a lot of injuries over the past 10 years.
I've had an on and off for Krejci. Like, I generally like him. Like, in terms of a person and a player, he's super good guy. But sometimes he goes on streaks where he's not doing a whole lot, and sometimes he's like a playmaker. But the biggest problem I see for that second line that he's on is he needs another winger that will actually do something. Mm-hmm. And that's the void they need to fill. They don't have the money to do that. I don't see how trading Krejci necessarily fills that void.
There's been some inconsistency from outside the top line.
Yeah, like DeBrusk hasn't lived up to the hype that he was going to have. Like,
no, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's mental. I don't know if he's dealing with personal issues. Maybe he's just not getting along with people on the team. I can't imagine it's like a health thing, like he's out of shape or anything like that.
I think it's just
he has the skill. We know he has the skill. So what's the reason?
It's kind of like Charlie McAvoy still hasn't got a goal yet.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Like, Toronto brings up their guy from Sandin. He gets a goal within his first couple of games. Charlie McAvoy's been there all season, still doesn't have a goal yet.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Victor Mete, who's been in the league for I think 3 years now, just scored his first goal this year.
That's awesome. So I don't see how. Like, Krejci is worth a little bit of money. Like, yeah, depending on how much you have to eat of the salary, you could free up some room to get someone, but like, you're still bringing up one of those young guys to fill a center role, and if you're potentially looking for a winger to play in there, like, because that's what you need to have addressed. I think you need to have DeBrusk, you need to have him getting going, and then someone else on the other wing that's actually doing something.
So, okay, well, let me. This is a good segue into the next topic I have, which is Kovalchuk. If you got rid of David Krejci, maybe you you're not taking anything back other than picks or something. Maybe you have to retain a little bit of the salary. Maybe you have to retain $1.5 million or $2 million or something like that. That frees up.
Let's say you trade him and you have 4.5 to work with.
4.5 to work with, and you trade for Kovalchuk, who's at $700K, which means you're down to $3.8 million. You can still probably bring in another player for $3.8 million who would be pretty valuable. And I would make the argument that right now, the Kovalchuk right now is playing better than the David Krejci on Boston.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting a $700,000 player.
Do you think Kovalchuk wants to be in Montreal?
I think he does.
Or do you think he's just looking to showcase himself?
And I think Montreal wants to retain him. Yeah. Regardless if Kovalchuk stays in Montreal or if he gets traded, I still think that Kovalchuk, either way, signs in Montreal next year. They love him, and he loves Montreal.
Are you surprised by how well he's played?
Extremely surprised.
Me too. Like, when we first talked about it, this was weeks ago now, months ago, I said, I wouldn't do it necessarily, but it's a no-lose situation. You're literally paying $700,000, which is nothing to these guys.
Yeah.
Just to take a chance on a guy, and he's freaking playing awesome.
He is. Do you want to know why? I think it's because of not maturity, but if you look at the average age of Montreal, it's an extremely young team. Yeah. One of the youngest teams in the NHL. Yeah. Well, look at LA where he just was.
Yeah.
It's a pretty old team.
Yeah.
He's surrounded by so much youth.
Yeah.
I think it makes him feel a bit younger.
He's a crowd favorite now.
He is a crowd favorite.
It's unbelievable.
Seriously. He is.
No, I know.
Yeah, it reminds me of when Kovalev came to Montreal.
Yeah.
A little bit. And I'll say, they're as young as that team is and as high energy as that team is, as fast as that team is, Kovalchuk is keeping pace with those young kids. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Sign him.
It's really surprising.
Now, don't sign him for $5 or $6 million.
It's been really surprising.
Sign him for $2 million or something like that. But I would really like to see Kovalchuk long term. Well, I mean, long term is relative.
Yeah.
But long term as in 3 years.
Yeah, stick around for a couple more years. Yep.
That's kind of basically all I have as far as player stuff.
I want to jump back into my... we have NHL released their top-selling jerseys so far for the 2019-2020 season. Now, side note, this is only on American sales because it's the NHL.com's American side.
Mm-hmm.
So, number 1, Sidney Crosby. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Vladimir Tarasenko. Kind of surprising.
Doesn't surprise me. They won the cup.
And I understand that. But still, I'm surprised by that.
Everyone's rushing out to get those jerseys after that cup win.
If you could have one jersey, was that the player you'd have from that team?
No.
No. I'm not. You can't take Allen.
Okay, no. O'Reilly.
Yeah, see, I think I would take an O'Reilly
Absolutely.
jersey too. O'Reilly's cool. I'm down with the O'Reilly.
I'm still looking for a white Adidas St. Louis Blues jersey. You can't buy them online. They're sold out. You can't buy them on NHLshop.ca. You can't buy them on lids.ca or .com. You can't buy them on Dick's. You can't buy them on Cool Hockey. You can't buy them on
Neil
Ice
is going
jerseys.
to go on a white jersey rant every week until they're back in stock.
I'm serious. It's been the last white jersey from the St. Louis Blues that I saw on sale was by, I believe, Dick's. It was a Tarasenko jersey actually, and it was sold out days after they won the cup. There has not been a white St. Louis Blues jersey listed anywhere online. And I'm not talking about illegal jerseys. I'm talking about legal Adidas jerseys. Official Adidas jerseys.
We're not talking Buffalo Sabres management here. We're talking legitimate.
How do you know? It's been, how many months has it been? 8? 9 months? How have you not made more jerseys? It doesn't make any sense.
They don't want you to have a white jersey.
Why?
Because they want everyone in the crowd to match.
I want to give them my money. How do you have this marketing opportunity in front of you and say, nah, we don't really want that money? What? What are you talking about? Make white jerseys. And make St. Louis Blues white jerseys. I think you can probably, maybe buy them in the NHL or the St. Louis Blues official shop, probably in the
pro
arena.
Shop in the arena. Probably the only place to
and
get
they're
them.
Probably $350 American or something ridiculous. Yeah. And number 1, I ain't driving to St. Louis. No offense, St. Louis. And number 2, I ain't paying $350 just because there's 7 made in the whole world that aren't sold yet. Yeah. So make more.
You good?
I'm good. I don't even know what we're talking about.
We're talking about top selling jerseys. Okay,
right.
so Crosby, Tarasenko. Number 3, Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah,
sure.
That's not a surprise.
Connor McDavid, sure. Patrice Bergeron, kind of surprising, but I guess this is the American site, so maybe not. Austin Matthews. Marc-Andre Fleury still getting some love. He's number 7. Tyler Seguin, number 8.
That's
after the year he's having, still has the 8th most sold jersey. Patrick Kane 9 and Jamie Benn 10. So 2 stars finished in the top 10
I'm surprised Mitch Marner's not on here.
It's probably because it's an American thing.
Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I forgot you said that. Yeah.
Like if this was a Canadian list or a mixed list, I think there would be some different things. Like I don't think Tarasenko would be number 2 if they went into.
Yeah, you're right. You got last year's here.
I have
too.
last year's just for comparison. So, Vladimir Tarasenko last year was 8. So even
Jordan Binnington is number 7.
Jordan Binnington had the 7th most sold jersey last year.
See, that's what happens when you win a cup.
Yeah, so that makes sense. But then the year after, Tarasenko's still taking that love, and they get a chunk of that chunk of that cheddar.
So I see value in this list, but at the same time, I don't see any value in this list because when Adidas makes these jerseys, and whether they're lettered and numbered by Adidas or by stores, who are these stores going to put on the jerseys? Are they going to put some middle tier player, or are they going to put the superstar? So
True.
If they have the shelves stocked with Tarasenko jerseys because he's the best player on the team or the most excitable player, the player that most people want, if someone comes in, wants a St. Louis Blues jersey, but all they have is Tarasenko, well, like, okay, yeah, Tarasenko's okay. I'll probably buy that.
That's a good point.
It doesn't mean that people want Tarasenko jerseys.
All right,
that's
so
all that's available.
Say you can't go and buy a jersey with a name on it. Say that's not a thing. All jerseys you order have to be bought online, and when you pick the jersey, you get to pick the name.
Yeah.
So the pull-down menu comes up. It has every player on that team. You get to pick someone.
Yeah.
Do you think this list looks the same way?
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah, I'm with you.
No, definitely not. It would be totally
That was
different.
a good point. I never actually thought about that.
Thank you.
Because, I mean, if the team decides, hey, we're just going to have Tarasenko jerseys to make it easy for supply,
Exactly.
then Ryan Riley's like, hey, man, I want a chunk of that cheddar, but I can't have it because the team's not.
If you go to Pro Hockey Life and you go to jerseys, some teams you can just buy blanks for, but some teams, like Edmonton, you can only buy, the only name jersey on there is Connor McDavid.
Mm-hmm.
Toronto, Austin Matthews. Montreal, Carey Price. There's no other players available. So if you go to these sites and you want a player on the back, you don't want a blank jersey, well, you're forced into buying some of these players. So that's why there's not much value in this list.
So I believe our boy Kale,
Yes.
VSP Hockey,
Yep.
he buys all his jerseys blank, right?
Most of his jerseys are bought blank and then he sends them away.
He sends them away to have them custom put the name on.
That's what I would like to start doing.
Yeah, like
I don't think there's anywhere local around here to do it.
So that's impressive.
That's pro.
That's dedication.
That is serious dedication. Yeah.
So he's not contributing to this list. He's buying blanks.
Shout out to VSP Hockey on YouTube.
Doing it right.
If you're into
VSP
jerseys,
Hockey has invested more than the Buffalo Sabres did for their alumni.
legitimately.
So Kale, you should feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're pretty much winding down here on the podcast. I have 2 last little things. I want to talk about Discord update real quick. I'm gonna go super quick because I know a lot of people listening. So I don't think it's a surprise that I haven't been putting much effort into the Discord lately. Probably you as well.
Do you want to explain what Discord is?
So Discord is the chat server we have set up. If you go on your phone and you go to download, it's going to say a gamers chat thing. But there are so many more people and companies and organizations using it. It's like the de facto chat program now.
If you're a gamer and you want to talk games, hey, we've got a chat room for that.
Sure, there's
in our
a game
Discord.
chat in there, but most people are in there talking about hockey.
Yeah.
So we have a bot. I started working on it like 2 years ago. It's been running for 2.5 years now.
It's amazing.
When I was actively developing it, it was actually keeping up with the times, I think. Like we were doing things that no one else was doing.
Yeah.
Then come last spring, I shut her all down and haven't touched it since because I think I just was putting too much on my plate at once.
Absolutely.
And I was being overwhelmed by how much work there was to do. So last night, I got everything set up on my computer. I formatted it. We're all set up. So I'm going to start working on the bot again a little bit. I'm not going to go crazy this time. I do want to make some changes to our Discord to make it easier for new people to get in because we came up with this thing called Verified because when we very first put our Discord up, people were smurfing other people's names and trying to get, because we have a community, right? And like people know their names because people have been around for a while now. And so you'd have people that were smurfing other people's names and trying to give them a bad rap. And it was like nightly things going on. And I just said, you know what?
It was a nightmare.
So we came up with a way to make it so you pick a name and you can't change your name. What I'm finding from after looking at this for about 2 years now is there are people that join that want to talk hockey that aren't really tech inclined.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I know if you would have gone on our Discord and you weren't who you are, if you were just a random, you probably would have said, I ain't got time for this.
I ain't got time for that.
And I would probably do the same thing. It's too, like you watch people come in, try to get verified and it doesn't work and they try again. And there's just been so many situations where people aren't getting that name registered right. And we have, most of our stuff is tied behind it. Like if you just want to talk hockey, you don't have to register that name. But if you want to be on our prediction system or if you want to use bot commands, if you want to do, you have to have it.
Which are all the cool things.
Yes. So I want to make it more streamlined to how to get verified. And we actually added a thing like last year, I think, where you have to tie your phone number in to prevent Smurf accounts.
Yep.
So that's actually called verifying. on Discord. So it's kind of confusing because now there's two things called verified. So Discord says, hey, you need to verify your phone number to be able to join the server. And then we're also saying you need to verify a name.
Right.
But for someone who doesn't know what Discord is, that's confusing.
Yes.
So I think we'll change the name of that to something else, like maybe like a registered name or whatever. But I'm thinking about maybe making it so as soon as you pop in, you can only see one chat room. And it's just a blank template message that has a video that you and I will film that says, this is how you do it. And it's not going to be typing bot commands anymore. We'll make you press a button. It'll ask you for your new name and it will explain it. And it's just super simple.
All right.
So everybody that joins from now on will have to do it, but they won't be able to do anything else until it's done.
Okay.
So it's just super simple. Once you do it, it's over.
Mm.
And that way it'll make it so people they can get in. Because I've seen so many people join, try to verify, they can't verify or they can't figure it out. It's not that complicated, but if you're not used to like bot commands or like, just chat commands or DOS commands or whatever,
yeah,
it can be confusing. If you're like a 60-year-old dude and you're not really tech inclined, like, I just want to talk hockey or I just want to do this prediction system. So I want to make that easier. And then I think we're just going to look at everything to see how things are working. Like it's been running pretty fine. There's been no issues. There's been no complaints. There's been no trouble. I think everyone's getting along.
Yeah, someone asked a question this morning actually about
the score, the leader, or wanting to see their points. So when I was working on this huge update, I was going to expand the prediction system. There was going to be a leaderboard for like points based on that. There was going to be a leaderboard for total points earned, like not counting the squish. There was going to be like for wins, like there was going to be 4 different categories of games going on in the one prediction system. Yeah. And then I couldn't do it. And I said, no, I'm not working on anything. And I just put the old system back up. So yes, we are going to try to fix that.
Do you know how many predictions there were last season?
We did
like 40,000 or something ridiculous.
I think it was like 56,000 or something like that.
Yeah, so like if you're not aware, if you like to make predictions, and there's no prize, but if you like to make predictions and you just have,
you
some
get a
fun,
cool colored name.
You get a cool colored name.
Like JP's been rocking a yellow name for almost a year now.
Yeah, there are hundreds of people who predict in our Discord, and it's a fun little thing. Mm-hmm. It's easy to do. You just click buttons,
and that's actually for the people. That's a good example. So the original prediction system, you had to actually type predict in the team name,
which seems archaic at this point.
And now you click. That's what I want to do with everything.
Okay.
So I want everything to be super easy. Like when I want to get verified, you click a button, you type your name, and you're done. And then all the rest of the channels all of a sudden appear. Mm. And the other change I'm going to make is for our mods. I'm going to be removing all the bot commands, or at least disabling them. That's the goal. And then there's actually a link you click on. If you're on your phone or on your computer, a web page comes up and you can just click, and you're done.
Heck yeah.
So no more trying to remember stuff. No more,
that's my
this
problem.
Doesn't work. Like, I'm just trying to make everything easier. Also last year I was talking about how we're going to make like a stats server and be able to like look up pro stats.
Right.
That idea is done. Like that's on the back burner. Maybe someday.
Too much work.
I was trying to do both at the same time and it's just too much. So
especially not now since you're working on the podcast.
Yeah. So the idea is on the set. So we're just going to try to improve the Discord. Things are going really well. If you're not in it, you should check it out.
Yeah. You should.
And if you are in it, just expect some changes coming. And Neil and I are going to talk about a bunch of stuff and we'll.
Yeah. If you have any feedback, feel free to leave. We actually do have a feedback channel on Discord where if you have suggestions or something, and there's just going to be things that just aren't possible. But that doesn't mean that we don't want to hear some of your suggestions. So if you have any ideas or anything like that, just let us know.
And like some of the feedback channels are supposed to be for feedback only. And we were doing a real good job at first, but now people are using like bot commands, like they're checking see how many fans are of each team. We're going to be restricting what bot stuff can be used in what channel. So if you try to use something in the feedback channel, it won't work. So just a bunch of like quality of life updates for Discord.
And if you're like a YouTube only watcher and you have any video suggestions or anything like that, and you leave a comment, truthfully, I'm too busy to read all the comments now, unfortunately. But if you do have a suggestion, pop into Discord and leave it in the YouTube
same goes
channel.
For the podcast. If you have ideas for the podcast, throw them in there.
I will see it there. If you post it there, I will see it.
Yeah.
If you message me on Instagram, like the post Instagram, I'll probably get back to you. If you try to message me on my personal Instagram, I'm not gonna accept it. That's my personal Instagram. If you want to talk to me about hockey or whatever, use the post Instagram or Twitter or something like that. Email is just crazy. There's so many emails that come in, I can't keep up. So if you do want to get my attention, Discord's probably the place to do it.
Okay. So that's enough talking about Discord. If you're on the Discord, think about joining it.
Shout out to all the
loyal... Shout out to the people who are in it. There's been people that have been there since the start. They're still in there. You guys are awesome.
The loyal Discorders.
And we're going to try, like I said, if you have feedback that goes for them too. If they have ideas to make the Discord better, Holler at us, because I'm not in any other hockey discords. Like I don't pay attention to that. So maybe the other discords are doing some cool stuff. Maybe you'd like to see a variation of that. Like I know when I was working on the bot, I was trying to stay ahead of everyone, even though I didn't know what they were doing. Mm-hmm. And then I just, for half a year or more than half a year now, I've been totally neglecting it. So I'm going to, like I said, we'll just get into that a little bit and try to modernize and just make things easy for everybody.
And Twitter can be pretty toxic.
Twitter is super toxic.
But in the past year and a half, our Discord has been an extremely safe place to talk hockey and even debate hockey. We're pretty strict on, like, we don't allow bullying or anything like that.
Like our last message in our mod chat was on Christmas Eve when I was wishing everyone like there's literally been nothing.
Yeah, people have been really great. So it's a really safe place to talk hockey. It's people have made friends and stuff. So we're really proud of the community on Discord.
Okay. The last topic I have, and then we'll close this podcast out, is episode 100 is coming. Winter is coming. 100 is coming. And I have a beef with the date for 100.
Yeah, it's a bit of an issue.
So without getting into anything, we have potentially 2 visitors coming the weekend of February 28th.
Well, I think we already said both of them.
Okay, so Joey, I think, is for sure coming up.
Yeah, the last weekend in February or something like that.
Yeah, and Brent's coming, and it depends on weather. Like both people have to drive significant, 4 hours. So if it's storming, obviously they won't come. But
yeah, so
potentially, if we could have a 4-person roundtable for episode 100,
we don't have mics for that.
We'll figure something out. But I mean, a 100th episode is a pretty big milestone episode. So it'd be nice to do something a little bit extra, and having a couple extra guests would be cool.
It would be cool. So
the problem is, you can go over the dates right now.
Today's the 2nd of February, which is episode 98, which means the 9th, which is next Sunday, would be episode 99, which means episode 100 would fall on February 16th, sorry.
Which is 2 weeks before everyone's coming.
Which is, which is 2 weeks before everyone's coming. I'm going home the weekend, and by home I mean Prince Edward Island, the weekend of the 15th, 16th, and 17th, because there's a holiday here. It's called Family Day, and so I don't work Monday, so I'm going home that weekend. Technically, I could film episode 100 there, but it defeats the purpose of us wanting to do something special for episode 100. So we have to delay it till the 23rd, but then that's not the right weekend.
We're still off by 1 week.
But we don't not want to do the podcast.
That's right. So maybe we make 101 our pro podcast. Like like I said, we're gonna talk about this, but it would just be nice if your milestone 100th episode.
Yeah.
Like you have 4 people on our big nice table, which we are getting plaques for soon.
I don't think we should stop the podcast.
No,
I think that would be a mistake.
We can't.
I think maybe let's just go through with it. I'll do episode 100 in PEI.
Because that's still nice to have Brent back on for 100.
Yeah, and then in episode 102, we can do it with 4 people, whatever. But maybe we can actually do like a separate video that's not a podcast. It's just for YouTube, where we just kind of talk about stuff.
Yeah,
that has nothing to do with the current NHL season or just whatever. But yeah, give us your feedback on YouTube and on whatever. We want to know what you think. So,
well, that's about what we got.
That's it.
Yep.
All right. Well, it's 4:30 local time.
Yep.
It's time to wrap it up. So I guess I'm the outro guy.
You're the outro guy.
All right. Thanks guys for watching, guys and girls for watching and listening. We really appreciate it. Hope you're having a good day. Hope you're watching lots of hockey. Make sure you let us know your thoughts on the Battle of Alberta in the comment section on YouTube.
The Battle of Alberta is back, people.
Yeah, we want to know, number one, who you cheering for from the Battle of Alberta, and if they did play in a playoff series, who would win? I don't know if I could make that prediction. I know I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. I don't know. I have to think about it. So yeah, give us your feedback. Thanks for listening and watching. We really appreciate you guys coming back every weekend to sit with us or listen to our stupid voices and hear what we have to say. So have a good week, and we'll see you in the next podcast. Adios.